has nothing to do with talent. What does he mean by that? Well, here's the thing. I know it's good clickbait. I know that's a good title. It'll make musicians who are shredders go, "What's he mean by that?" And they're gonna click on and maybe argue with me or send me a nasty gram or something like that. And that's fine. Feel free to do that. There's a million talented musicians out there who just can't. They can't have success in the music business, right? They can't make a buck at it. They can't move forward and have a career. Now, there's the other side of that argument where I've said this quite a few times in videos, and I've heard people say, "Oh, well, success isn't about making money. Success is about," and then they fill in the blank. But, the people that say that are usually pretty darn broke too. Success is different things to different people. I will agree with that. But I also think earning a living and being able to make a living as a musician, that is my vocation. That is what I do. I'm the drummer for a band. I write books. I teach lessons. I do podcasts. I do all these different things to make a living as a musician. Am I a talented musician? I want to think so. Yeah, I want to think that I'm very good at what I do. I've worked very hard. I've done my 10,000 plus hours. But really the thing that I have that I think a lot of people overlook, and that is a work ethic. I know a lot of people who are incredibly naturally talented, but they don't really have a great work ethic. Meaning that, they'll show up and do the bare minimum to get their job done, but they sleep until the crack of noon, as my father used to say. Maybe they're prepared 90%, 80%. And also in that preparation, I'm not talking about knowing the material. I'm not talking about knowing the song. I mean, just looking halfway decent, not being completely disheveled and having clothes that fit. I mean, there's so many things that go into it, right? I mean, we are in the entertainment business. We're in the music business. So all of those things really matter a lot. Always trying to improve yourself. Always trying to be a better version of you. My drum set is right over there. I film these in my studio. When you see this backdrop, this is my home recording studio, teaching studio, practice studio, and I spend a lot of time behind the drum set or at a practice pad working on different things so that I'm a better player today, maybe if just like the slightest little bit, just a hair better today than I was yesterday. It's something that is ingrained in me. And I think also being dependable, right? Being a dependable musician is something that a lot of times people have a tendency to overlook. Do I show up on time? Am I late all the time? Do I have a vehicle that runs? There's so many of these little things that we tend to overlook. Attitude and personality matter a lot. I talk about this a lot in videos and in master classes and the things that I do. I've been in the Sam Morrison band. I've been the drummer for that band for 27 years. We're boasting right now that the band's been together for 26 years. I got in 1 year before some of the guys where we made this big change around and became the band that we are today. At any rate, I digress. I've been in the band for 27 years. And the thing that I've learned in that 27 years is that my personality and what I bring to the table with the band is more important than my playing. Because think about it, if we do a club gig and we do 4 sets, which is pretty rare for us these days, we don't do a lot of those. Okay, that's 4:45s that we're on stage together making music, right? Or most of the time we do an hour and a half show or an hour and 15-minute show. That time spent on stage is a very small amount of time where I'm with the band. I spend a lot more time in a vehicle, in an airplane, in a shuttle van. I mean, we travel together all the time. going to restaurants. We all get our own rooms now, but every once in a while we have to room with each other, right? Sharing an Airbnb. I spend more time with those guys there than I ever do on stage. So, your personality and who you are and what you bring to the table is so incredibly important. Can you stand being around the guys in your band? And more importantly, you got to look in the mirror and look at yourself. Can the guys in my band stand being around me? Nobody wants to play in a band with somebody that makes it all about them all the time. And believe me, I've worked with people like that, and I'm sure that I've done that too. Again, these are not judgment calls; these are all observations where I want to, I really want to point out some of the things that I've been through, or mistakes that I've made to help. People watch this to help my coaching clients, to help my students. Professionalism really also is another thing, right? Literally, I mentioned it a minute ago, but being on time. Okay, when we show up to a gig, we have a lot of gear that we carry with us to pull the gig off. We carry our own in-ear monitor system. My drum set, my own personal drum set that I carry on the road with me. I carry my own microphones. It's more than just a standard, bar gig. So it takes time to put all that together. So if we're told that we have to be in to load in and sound check at 3, we want to be there at 2, right? Not every band does that, but again, that's what we do, and I think that shows a sign of professionalism. We're not, like going nuts trying to make everything work last minute before they open the doors. Learning your material, I think that goes without saying. Show up being prepared, knowing your material. Responding to messages, little things like that, professionalism, is so incredibly important. Sometimes I think professionalism is something that goes without saying, but I think a lot of people have a tendency to kind of forget the professionalism part of it. Look, relationships build careers, right? A relationship is going to help build your career. So any relationship that you have within your band or outside of your band is going to help shape your career. I've got a very dear friend of mine, perfect example, who is a manager, and he manages some legendary acts, some huge bands, and some, again, legendary solo artists. I won't say their names because I haven't gotten his permission to do so, but I will say that the relationship that I built with him, it's been a mutual thing. He's also a drummer, so him and I talk drums all the time. I've gone over to his shop. I've helped him with drums. I've helped him fix drums, helped him move drums. We've become really fast friends. We've got a photo shoot coming up this weekend, and he's not my manager. He's not the band's manager, but he helped us get a photographer, like a world-class photographer for this photo shoot. It's a great relationship, and it's symbiotic, meaning that we help each other, and then over and above that, we're just friends. It's not always about getting something out of a relationship. I don't want to imply that, but I will say that, you help each other in relationships. Again, in the music business, it's not this big business that everybody thinks it is. It's a very small business, and everybody knows each other. So if you build a bad name for yourself within that circle, it's going to stick to you like glue, right? So you definitely don't want that. That's part of the networking thing, because that networking within those relationships matters. Okay, longevity comes from discipline. I think that's one of the things that I have to say. Again, I've been in the Sam Morrison Band for 27 years, man. That's a long time. That's more than a quarter of a century. It's a big chunk of my life that I've spent with that band. And the discipline that it takes to practice songs, like this week we're getting ready to go out on tour next week. No, I shouldn't say tour. We're actually going to a residency in Laughlin, Nevada at the Riverside Casino. We're there for 5 nights, and every night we play a different show. So I'm brushing up on songs that I've been playing for years, right? but maybe they haven't been in the set for a while, so I'm kind of working out some little bugs, making sure the feel's right. That discipline, man, that's a tough one, because it's like I already know the song, I've played it a million times, but I want to make sure I got it right for this show coming up, right? Discipline is a hard thing, but longevity comes from that discipline. One of the things that I want to talk about, two of the things I want to talk about, and this is a plug for my book, Drum Up Your Business, but back to the work ethic thing. Okay, I have a family member who is an incredibly gifted writer, so much so that they went to college to be a writer, right? They studied writing in school, a master's degree in writing. And the only thing that this person has published is a couple of articles in the school newspaper. Now, they're long since graduated, and nothing's been published. And this person is so incredible with the English language, not only in the way that they speak, but in the way that they write, the way they put things together. It's phenomenal. I've read some of the work that hasn't been published, and it's just incredible. I wish I had that gift. Now, that being said, I have 2 literary books published. I have 4 instructional books published and 6 different instructional method things, DVDs, if you will, when DVDs were a thing, and countless articles for music websites and magazines, printed magazines, right? Columns for different industry things. And not only do I not have a degree in writing, but I'll go a step further. I was diagnosed in the 2nd grade with dyslexia. For me to write a simple Facebook post can be agonizing. Now, I write about this in my book, Drum Up Your Business. It takes so much discipline for me to write. But the thing is there's 2 things to it. Number one, I love to write. I just enjoy it so much. It's kind of like drumming to me in a way, but in a different way. It's very therapeutic. I like to sit down and get my thoughts to paper. And I really, truly love writing. And then the other thing, it's another way for me to express myself and get my opinion out there and get my ideas out there to musicians, both, young and old, people who've been in the business for a while, or people who are just starting out. So if you are in the industry and you feel that you need some help with this, check out my book, Drum Up Your Business. Printed copies are available on my website, and digital versions are available at Hudson Music. It's like $9. It's really cheap. Now I have 2 books there, The Rhythmic Journey and Drum Up Your Business, both of those. So there's the plug for my books. But the thing is, again, I'm highly dyslexic. It's really agonizing for me to write. I love doing it, but it's agonizing. I have to really think about my spelling. Thank God for Grammarly. Thank God for AI in that area. I use it to help me with my punctuation and my spelling and stuff like that. And I write about that in my book, Drum Up Your Business. I write about being dyslexic, and I use a lot of examples from different people who are successful in the arts who are dyslexic. And the way I look at it, I can talk about it like this and woe is me, but that's not the reason I'm telling you this. I'm telling you this because it's just a hurdle. It's a hurdle that I've had to get over my entire life. It's hard, yes, at times embarrassing, when you spell something incredibly wrong. It's embarrassing, but nonetheless, I've been able to do it. Work ethic, discipline, determination. It's so incredibly important. And so that's part of my personal message. Another part of my personal message is I've had to overcome other things. I've had to overcome drinking and alcoholism. It's something that runs deep in my family. And again, I'm not blaming anybody else, but I've had struggles with that. I've got 7 years sober, a little over 7 years sober. I'm very, very proud of that. And it's something that I help other people with. And again, no matter what it is, if you need help with that, with your coaching, anything like that, please feel free to reach out to me at my website. I would love to talk to you about it if you need some help with that. I think the thing that we end up worrying about, I know when I was younger, I really worried about the talent end of it. Now, again, I'm not broad brushing and saying you don't need to have talent. You need to have talent, but I was like a lot of young musicians. I'd compare myself, right? I would compare myself to my favorite drummers. I would compare myself to whoever the drummer was in the biggest band on the cover of Modern Drummer, or the guy that played the coolest thing that I heard that day or that week, right? And all that is a way to shoot yourself in the foot. You can look at it as, well, that's inspiration and determination. Yeah, it is. But once you start comparing yourself too much, guess what happens? Now all of a sudden you start going downhill, and you are no longer being inspired, and you're no longer building up determination. You're just kind of like comparing yourself to somebody else, and it's easy to fall into a rut, and it's really easy to fall into a depression, right? And so don't do that to yourself. Look, I'm not negating the fact that you have to practice. I already said that. You've got to get better every day. I'm not negating the fact that you have to play your instrument. You have to know music theory. If you're a drummer, you have to know your rudiments. You have to know all of these things. These things are crucial to the betterment of your drumming and to your career. But the playing part of it is at one point taken for granted. The fact that you can do the other part, the business part, the show up on time, the having the discipline. If you're a killer player and you're the most talented guy in the room and you are the best in the world at what you do, but you're called upon to play the most boring shuffle on the face of the planet, do you have the discipline to sit there for the 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 minutes of a boring song and play the part, because that's what the song calls for? It's not the easiest gig in the world sometimes, right? It's not easy to do that, to have that discipline. I want to thank you guys for watching. If you want to support the channel, again, check out my books. Check out my website, or my t-shirts that I sell on TeePublic. Those are a lot of fun if you're a drummer and you want a cool drummer t-shirt. The link to that is in the description below. Thank you guys for watching, and go practice, and don't lose that determination. I'll see you in the next video.